My name's Vianey Lopez Braun, and I'm a labor and employment shareholder at Decker Jones PC in Fort Worth, Texas. And I'm also honored to serve on the board of directors of First Financial Bank Shares and as chair of their regional advisory board in Fort Worth. How I got to know First Financial was actually back in 1997, and I remember going to lunch with my friend Marilyn Shedd, who is now president of First Financial Bank in Abilene. At the time, she was a commercial lender, and she was so encouraging but also so reassuring because I was 28 years old, didn't know a lot about what a bank could or couldn't do for someone, and they really did everything for me. They, of course, set up my commercial accounts, of course, a line of credit. First Financial did all of that for me. I needed office space. She was able to find me space in 400 Pine, the main building for First Financial, and then they built out an office to my specifications, and it was just wonderful being a tenant there. I was really, all of a sudden, part of the First Financial family. Then, fortunately, I was successful and I was able to hire some employees. And so then I was working with First Financial Trust, trying to figure out what kind of retirement plan can I put in place. And they did all of that for me as well when they set up my 401k. It would have been sometime in 1998 when I had a big grand opening, when I finally had the office the way I wanted it and wanted to sort of introduce myself to the community. And it was just amazing how many First Financial people came to my grand opening, including Scott Deeser, the CEO, took time to come up and congratulate me. It was just amazing to have First Financial really invested in my long-term success. So that's part of the reason I'm so loyal, because they've been loyal to me. It would have been towards the end of 2019 that I got an unexpected phone call from Tucker Bridwell, the lead director for First Financial Bank, and I was very surprised that he was inquiring whether I'd be willing to serve on the holding company board, which is a huge honor. But I have known First Financial and the First Financial culture for nearly 25 years now, and I did feel like I'd be able to give back because as an abundantly satisfied customer, I know that First Financial really has in their DNA, not just putting the customer first, but really investing in the customer's long-term success, going above and beyond when necessary. And it makes me feel good to feel like I can safeguard that culture and that DNA that's been so important to First Financial in all the years that I've known them.
I'm Candy Kennedy, president of First Financial Bank in Eastland. My family and I are from Eastland, born and raised, and I graduated high school from Eastland. I was also born on the day that the Eastland Mavericks won state, December 18th, 1982, and we will win another state championship. I played softball, basketball, and was a cheerleader, and to this day, I support all of the Eastland students in everything they do, and I'm proud to be part of this community. My husband and I are raising our daughter, who is now 8 years old, in Eastland, and she will be an Eastland Maverick. She is currently involved in softball and basketball, and I'm helping coach both of those teams. I started with First Financial Bank 20 years ago as a teller. I had just graduated from high school and started a part-time job. And I'm proud to say that I've worked in just about every position in the bank, and being president is something I never dreamed of. First Financial Bank is very involved in the community, in Eastland, Cisco, Ranger, and Rising Star. We're happy to support our children in any way possible, whether it's in their sports, or at the Eastland County Livestock Show. You'll find that we're the biggest fans in this community. When customers come into the bank, They're greeted with a friendly smile, a familiar face, and we're going to call them by name. And that's what's so great about being a part of a small community. We know each other, we support each other, and we're happy to see each other. I got into banking because I started taking finance classes at Tarleton while I was working here as a part-time teller. And I just really started enjoying it, and I started enjoying my customers. And I love when a customer walks through the door and just offers me a wave from across the lobby, because it just makes my day. It's through my 20 years that I've seen so many people grow and move up. And First Financial Bank is so great at promoting within and encouraging its employees on education, training, and leadership.
Si desea comprar su propia casa, pero no es elegible para obtener un número de seguro social, First Financial Bank le puede ayudar. Nuestro préstamo hipotecario ITIN es una excelente opción para usted. Busque la sucursal de First Financial Bank más cercana en ffin.com/locations, donde nuestros prestamistas expertos están listos para ayudarlo. El sueño americano está al alcance hoy con un préstamo hipotecario ITIN de First Financial Bank, prestamista de vivienda equitativa, miembro FDIC.
I'm Shelley Dacus, the Kingwood Region President of First Financial Bank. My kids keep me busy. I have an 11-year-old and a 15-year-old, and they're involved in lots of sports. We're at the ball fields on weekends and evenings, in driver's ed. I was raised in what I didn't realize, I guess, was a poor family compared to the standards that you see today. My family did a phenomenal job at working hard to produce for us so that I didn't feel like I was lacking. But by all standards, it was a very, very modest income. I was the first person to go to college, and I worked full-time. While going to school full-time, I was able to pull myself through without any debt, and then with help of some scholarships along the way, too. I became interested in banking when I had a very neat professor that took an interest in me in my life. I was going to Sam Houston State University, majoring in finance. He said, "Why aren't you in my banking class?" And they had a banking minor at the time, and signed up with him through the minor. And he ultimately helped me get my first job into a bank. It was a formal credit training that was about a 1.5-year program, which has ended up how I was at First Financial Bank. I started out as a credit analyst, so underwriting the packages, doing spreads, and working with all the various lenders. Then I went to the junior lender role, working with an officer that was handing over relationships, making introductions, helping me get involved in the community, and then ultimately to a loan officer. Everywhere you turn to look, First Financial has an extraordinary reputation. We're giving so many opportunities to expand, so many opportunities to meet different people, to interact in all the different directions at the bank. The culture runs consistently across the entire organization. The non-negotiables that we go over consistently truly are honored in any location that you walk into. The people, I think, are the best part, and then you add to the financial performance, the stability, and the regulatory environment, we've got a great reputation.
In 1943 in DePort, Texas, Geraldine Griffin exchanged vows with her high school sweetheart, also an engineer in the Army Air Corps in Europe. It was his service that eventually brought the family to Dyess Air Force Base and Geraldine to the front door of First National Bank of Abilene, now known as First Financial Bank. Jerry, as she was known, learned about the banking industry from her father-in-law and worked as a bookkeeper before her promotion as the first female teller to work at the First National Bank of Paris in Texas. When the family landed in Abilene in 1963, naturally she attempted to resume her career. Jerry's journey for employment took her bank to bank, where she faced rejection several times because women were not hired as tellers. She then knocked on First National Bank's door. Bank leadership lauded her experience and hired her immediately. During her career, she was promoted from teller to assistant cashier and in 1984 became the bank's second female vice president. Jerry's contributions to the bank, including opening the Pine Street Motor Bank location, can't be overstated, and she was awarded Outstanding Employee of the Year before her retirement in 1989 after 26 years of service. Despite all her achievements, both personal and professional, it was her hiring and mentorship of other women of which she was most proud. Jerry passed away in 2019. One of the closing paragraphs of her obituary so aptly defined her. At her core, Geraldine always believed in the advancement of women in the workplace, the strength of families, keeping with trends, and doing what others said could not be accomplished by a woman in her time. This has been a First Financial Bank Women in Banking moment in history.
During the week, I'm a banker, and at night and on the weekends, I'm a cowgirl. I'm Nora Thompson. I'm president and CEO of the Bryan College Station region. At the bank, people have a hard time thinking that I get up in the morning and I clean stalls and I work with horses. And then my horse friends have a hard time thinking that, oh, you'd wear a dress or slacks to work and you're a banker. So it's interesting. It's like two different worlds that I'm living in. I was born in Alpine, Texas, so West Texas girl. My families, both sides of my family, were ranchers. Lived a lifestyle just like you see on Yellowstone in 1883. Rode a lot as a child, worked cattle, helped my grandfather. Typical ranching background. We lived on the outskirts of the ranch, and every morning I'd go to headquarters with my grandfather. We'd have breakfast with our 25 hands that worked for us every day, and I helped to cook. I enjoy cooking, and I think part of that is from my background helping him. I was going to go to college and then go home and be a rancher's wife. There was no doubt. I had no idea I'd ever become a banker. You know, I moved to Bryan College Station and went to work for a property management company, and then did work for the RTC back in the late 80s, early 90s. And I had lunch with a friend of mine, and he said, Nora, you're really great in real estate. You need to get into the mortgage business. And so I just on a whim started a small mortgage company in Bryan College Station that was a branch of a company in Houston. Started a mortgage company, went to work for them, and then the bank called me and asked me to come start the mortgage company for them, First National Bank of Bryan, and that's how I got into banking. My husband and I have a side passion of cutting and horses. We raised our children with 4-H, FFA. Our son rodeoed high school, collegiate, and professionally for a while. Our daughter showed horses, so we were really involved with them. I didn't have a day of vacation for 5 years that didn't involve a 4-legged animal. My husband cut previously, and I helped him for 25 years. I've been his loper. And so I've always ridden. You know, I rode as a child, then I quit riding for a while. My husband's always ridden. And so for 25 years, I've helped my kids, and then I've watched him cut, and then about 2 years ago, I started trying to compete in the sport of cutting. Very novice, just getting started, but having a great time. You know, the horsemanship and the cutting for me is an opportunity to kind of put away all the day, the end of the day, the stress of the day, the great part of the day, and just concentrate on the horses. You know, the great thing about First Financial Bank is it offers great technology, all the great products that any organization can offer. But the one thing that it does offer better than anything is the personal touch that you can pick up the phone, you can talk to your banker. My cell phone is on my card, and I encourage my customers to call me 7 days a week, anything they need, and we're going to get them taken care of. I want to be the best bank in Bryan College Station, and I want to be the best region in First Financial Bank. I want to have more market share in Bryan College Station. I want to win. It's the only way I know to describe it is every morning I want to get up and we want to win.
When First Financial Bank opened its doors in 1890, a relationship between a local community bank and a state was born. For more than 130 years, First Financial has grown alongside Texas, proudly supporting our state's industries and helping our fellow Texans realize their personal and business goals.
First Financial Bank is putting Texans first, from the Panhandle to the Gulf Coast and many communities in between. First Financial Bank. We're Texas.
Oh, I think I've seen you before somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to the First Financial Bankshares 49th annual meeting since the company was established as a bank holding company in 1973. You can't imagine how good it is to see all of you. What a beautiful group, and what a big, I think this is the largest crowd we've had. You can tell COVID's over, and thank God. We are so glad, because the last two meetings, one was totally virtual. The second year, we just had the meeting, and so it's nice that today we're going to have everything. We're even going to have the luncheon, so we look forward to visiting with you at the luncheon and getting some time to get to see you and spend some quality time with you. And we also welcome those of you who are viewing live stream on the meeting. We've got the live stream going, so we've got people all over the world watching this meeting right here, so welcome to them. I'm Scott Deeser, and as chairman of the board of directors, it's my pleasure to preside at today's meeting. We're honored to have so many of our shareholders in person or on the live video stream. Your interest and dedication to our company is very gratifying to us. Your continuous support is greatly appreciated. As set out in the proxy statement dated March 17th, 2022, our directors, Tucker S. Bridwell and David L. Copeland, are serving as our proxies and are authorized to vote in accordance with your proxy card, which was completed and returned by mail, internet, or in person. All proxies received prior to the meeting will be voted in accordance with instructions contained in the proxy statement. If you have revoked your proxy prior to the meeting and are voting today at this meeting, please mark your ballot, raise your hand so we will collect your ballot at this time to submit them to Mr. Copeland and Mr. Bridwell to tabulate these votes with the proxies previously received. Anybody have a voting card? I knew that would be the case. Good, great, you've already done it. While Mr. Copeland and Mr. Bridwell tabulate the number of shares represented either in person or by proxy, I'd like to introduce our senior management, who truly are the ones that lead this company. I'd ask each one to stand and remain standing to be recognized as a group. I'd ask for you to pay particular attention to the experience level of each one of these professionals as we call their names. Scott Deeser, Chairman of the Board, President, and Chief Executive Officer. Ron Butler, Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer, also the CEO of the Abilene region. James Gordon, Executive Vice President, Chief Financial Officer. Kirk Thaxton, Chairman, President, and CEO of First Financial Trust and Asset Management Company. Luke Longhofer, Executive Vice President, Chief Lending Officer. Randy Rowe, Executive Vice President, Chief Risk Officer. John Rosica, Executive Vice President, Chief Information Officer. Kyle McVeigh, Executive Vice President, Chief Accounting Officer. David Bailey, Executive Vice President, Commercial Banking, also the CEO of the Eastland Division. Marnie Yergin, Executive Vice President, Credit Administration. Rhett Everett, Executive Vice President, Credit Administration. Larry Kentz, Senior Vice President and Chief Compliance Officer. Okay, now our business line of executives. Each one of these people run a line of business for us across the whole company. Troy Four, President, First Financial Mortgage. Chris Cook, Executive Vice President, Advertising and Marketing. Monica Houston, Executive Vice President, Retail Banking and Training. Andrew Smitty-Slagle, Executive Vice President, Treasury Management. Maggie Jasinski, Executive Vice President, Chief Digital Officer. Mike Wolverton, Executive Vice President, Consumer Lending. Frank Joya, Senior Vice President, Customer Care Center, which is our call center. Brandon Harris, Senior Vice President, Appraisal Services. Josh Brown, Senior Vice President, Human Resources. And Gary Milliron, Vice President, Property Management. And now our CEOs and Presidents. Marilyn Shedd, President of our Abilene region. David Bailey, CEO of Eastland Division. Candy Kennedy, President of our Eastland Division. Joseph Crouch, President of our Sweetwater Division. Jamie Esch, Chairman, CEO of Hereford. Chris Evett, Chairman, President, CEO of San Angelo. Austin Elsner, Chairman, President, and CEO, Cleburne. Trent Swearingen, Chairman, President, and CEO, Stephenville. Justin Hooper, Chairman, President, and CEO, Weatherford. Mark Jones, Chairman of our South Lake region. Shelby Brune, President and CEO of our South Lake region. Stephen Lee, Chairman, President, and CEO of our Southeast Texas region. Chris Bowman, President and CEO of our Conroe region. Marcus Morris, President and CEO of our Fort Worth region. Shelley Dacus, President and CEO of our Kingwood region. And Nora Thompson, President and CEO of our Bryan College Station region. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your management team who make this bank one of the top banks, top performing banks in the country. Each of the bank regions, as well as our trust and technology companies, are guided by very capable boards. Altogether, we have 113 business and professional leaders, other than bank presidents and company representatives, who serve our 12 regions and our trust and technology companies. As we say, our boards are made up of the movers and shakers of the communities we serve. Their guidance and counsel are greatly appreciated, and their influence in the markets we serve is vital to our ongoing success of this organization. We thank them for their dedication and direction that they give us every day. For the past 19 fiscal years, the accounting firm of Ernst & Young has performed the audit of our company. We appreciate their professionalism, and we are pleased to have representatives from the firm join us in today's meeting. Matt Whipp, partner, and Lee Branch, senior manager, are here today representing the firm and are available to answer all the hard questions. So if you have any questions, you just find these guys. They know it all. There isn't anything they haven't looked at. Now that I have had the opportunity to introduce our management team and auditors, we can move along with today's official business. In accordance with the annual meeting notice and the proxy materials that were available on March 17th, 2022, all shareholders of record as of March 1st, 2022, there are 3 items that require the official vote of shareholders. These were covered in detail in the proxy materials. However, as we present these items, if any of you have any questions, please raise your hand and let us recognize you so that we may answer your question. Mr. Copeland, have you tabulated the votes?
We have.
Mr. Copeland, will you please give us the number of shares that are represented by proxy and in person?
Total number of shares represented today is 122,605,702 shares, which represents, 86% of the outstanding shares.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. And just want to say to all you stockholders, thank you for voting. There are very few firms that get 86% of their stockholders that vote. Says a lot to the market out there that we have such support by you, our stockholders. Okay, the number of shares represented constitute a quorum. Therefore, this meeting is properly and duly convened. That being the case, it is our standard procedure not to read the minutes of the last year's meeting. Mr. James Gordon has in hand the minutes of that meeting that was held on April 27th, 2021. The meeting had 4 official items of business, those being the election of directors, the ratification and appointment of independent auditors, the advisory vote on the compensation of the named executives, and the approval of the 2021 Omnibus Stock and Incentive Plan. All 4 items were approved. As set out in the proxy statement dated March 17th, 2022, we have 3 official items of business for this meeting. Our first item is the election of directors to serve on the corporate board for the coming year. As stated in the meeting notice and the proxy statement, the nominating Corporate Governance Committee and the Board of Directors have recommended that 11 directors be elected, all of whom are currently serving as your Board of Directors. The nominees and their primary business are as follows. April Anthony of Dallas, Managing Partner, Anthony Family Investment Partners Limited, Executive Chair of Home Care Home Base, and former CEO of Encompass Home Health Hospice. Go ahead and stand up. Thank you, April. Vianney Lopez Braun of Fort Worth, Chief Development Officer, Decker Jones PC. David L. Copeland of Abilene, President of SIPCO, Inc. and the Shelton Family Foundation. Mike B. Denny of Abilene, CEO, Bacher & Associates, Inc. Scott Deeser of Abilene, Chairman of the Board, President and Chief Executive Officer of First Financial Bankshares, Inc. Murray Edwards of Clyde, Principal of the Edwards Group. Dr. Eli Jones of Bryan College Station, Professor of Marketing, Lowry and Peggy Mays Eminent Scholar, former Dean of the Mays School of Business at Texas A&M University. Tim Lancaster of Lubbock, retired President and CEO of Hendrick Health System. Kate L. Matthews of Amarillo, Ranching and Investments. Robert C. Nichols, Jr. of Kingwood, Executive Chairman of Legacy Group, Inc., or LLC. And Johnny E. Trotter of Hereford, President and CEO of Livestock Investors Limited. This is the recommended slate of directors for the coming year. And thank you for our board members. Okay, Mr. Copeland, give us tabulation of votes.
Scott, no director received less than 96.9% of the shares voted.
I think we have all our directors in place. Thank you, Mr. Copeland. With these votes, these 11 directors are duly elected. The second item of business is to ratify the Audit Committee of the Board of Directors' appointment of Ernst & Young, LLP, as independent auditors for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. As noted in the meeting notice and the proxy statement, the Board of Directors has recommended the appointment of Ernst & Young, LLP, be ratified. The totals in this regard, Mr. Copeland?
Once again, 98.3% of the shares were voted for ratification.
All right, thank you, Mr. Copeland. That's a majority, and the appointment is ratified. Were you guys nervous? I don't think so. They do a great job. We're very pleased with them. The third item of business is the advisory vote on compensation of our named executive officers pursuant to the Securities Exchange Commission rules. We're again conducting a shareholder advisory vote referred to as Say on Pay to give shareholders the opportunity to express their views on compensation of our named executive officers and the executive compensation philosophy, policies, and programs described in the proxy statement. As noted in the meeting notice and the proxy statement, the Board of Directors recommends approval of the resolution approving the compensation of the named executive officers. Mr. Copeland, the totals in this regard.
Those voting for comprise 98% of the vote.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Copeland. That's a majority, and the advisory resolution is approved. Okay, this concludes the official business, and we appreciate the strong approval of the 3 proposals recommended by the Board of Directors this morning. There being no further official business to come before the meeting, the 2022 annual meeting of First Financial Bankshares is now adjourned. James Gordon will now present our financial results, and Kirk Thaxton will discuss highlights and activities from the trust company. Then it'll be my pleasure to present the 2022 and current activities of the company. James?
Thank you, Scott, and good morning to everyone. I'm extremely excited to be with you here in Abilene or via our live stream broadcast. Also, as I near completion of my second year with First Financial, my family and I feel truly blessed to be part of the First Financial family. First, please note the forward-looking statement disclosure shown on the screen. Now looking at our 2021 financial highlights, which reflect our momentum in terms of new customer growth created over the last 2 years for First Financial. We are extremely proud but humbled to accomplish our 35th consecutive year of earnings. Increased earnings. Our net income of $227.6 million compares to $202 million for 2020, representing a 12.6% increase. Contributing to this increase was an increase of $20.5 million in net interest income, driven primarily by our growth in loans and investment securities of $2.4 billion, funded by a $1.9 billion increase in deposits. Since January the 1st, 2020, following the addition of our 12th region with the acquisition of the Bank and Trust Bank located in Bryan College Station, we have grown total assets by over $4 billion to $13.1 billion at year end. Our trust company continued its growth with total fees of $36.1 million, up 22.4% for the year, with $8.6 billion in market value of assets managed at year end. Kirk will provide additional details on their outstanding year following my comments. Diluted earnings per share were $1.59 for 2021 compared to $1.42 for 2020, reflecting the similar increase in net earnings for the year. Our return on average assets is a key measure of financial performance for the banking industry. This is net income as a percent of average assets, which was 1.89% for 2021. This compares extremely well to our peer group average of 1.26%, which places us in the 93rd percentile of our peer group. Our Federal Reserve peer group consists of 130 bank holding companies throughout the United States with assets greater than $10 billion. Another important measure for our shareholders is our return on average equity, which is our net income as a percentage of average shareholders' equity, which was 13.31% for 2021, compared to 12.93% for 2020, which places us in the 68th percentile of our peer group. This ratio is especially strong when you consider our capital levels are among the strongest within our peer group. Our primary revenue comes from our net interest income, which is measured by the net interest margin earned on earning assets. In 2021, our net interest margin was pressured by historically low interest rates following the onset of the pandemic in 2020. Our net interest margin was 3.4% for 2021, compared to our peer group average of 2.8%, which puts us near the 88th percentile of the peer group. We work hard each day to maximize the investment of our liquid assets while maintaining and growing loans, while maintaining the loan rates and manage interest paid on deposits. Next, looking at our overall efficiency of managing operating expenses. The efficiency ratio is a performance indicator that represents the ratio of non-interest expense to total net interest income plus non-interest income. In simple terms, this ratio reflects how much each dollar of revenue is spent on our operating expenses. The lower the ratio, the better. In 2021, our efficiency ratio was 45.84%, up slightly from 45.49% in 2020. So nearly 46 cents are spent for each dollar of revenue earned. Our efficiency ratio compares very favorably to our peer group average of 58.8%, placing us in the 88th percentile within that peer group. Our regulatory capital ratios are now shown on this slide. As you can see, our capital ratios are well over double the required level to meet the well-capitalized regulatory requirements. Our total shareholders' capital at December 31st, 2021 totaled $1.7 billion, and our tangible capital was $1.4 billion, excluding $317 million of goodwill and other intangibles. Our capital levels provide a strong base for continued growth. In fact, our capital ratios have remained well above required levels, even considering the $4 billion in growth over the last 2 years. From a balance sheet perspective, we had total assets at the end of 2021 of $13.1 billion. Our growth in 2021 was $2.2 billion, driven by $1.9 billion in deposit growth, while total assets are up $4.8 billion since 2019, including our acquisition in Bryan-College Station. Total loans were $5.4 billion at the end of 2021, compared to $5.2 billion at the end of 2020, an increase of $684 million, or 13.84%, when excluding the decrease in PPP loans and held-for-sale loans. Our loan-to-deposit ratio was 51% at December 31st, 2021. While we are working hard to grow our loan portfolio, pricing and credit quality continues to be front of mind as we serve our customers across Texas. Our growth is driven by the strength of the communities across Texas. Some key economic rankings recently for Texas. In 2021, the state of Texas ranked number 1 again in the United States in GDP growth, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis, highlighted by winning the Governor's Cup for the 10th year in a row for attracting new business to the state. In March 2022, Smart Agent ranked the Bryan-College Station metropolitan area as a top 20 housing market for growth and stability. Recently, 4 Texas metropolitan areas, Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, and Abilene, ranked in the top 10 nationally of their respective size categories for economic development during 2021. With that growth, our non-performing assets totaled $34.2 million, and as a percentage of loans and foreclosed assets was 63 basis points at December 31st, 2021, which compares very favorably to our peer group at 71 basis points. Our allowance for credit losses totaled $63.5 million, or 1.18% of total loans, reflecting the new accounting for credit losses commonly referred to as CECL, adopted during 2020. Our total deposits increased to $10.6 billion, up $1.9 billion, or 22% over 2020. Our non-interest demand deposits remain strong at $3.8 billion, or 35.8% of our total deposits, while positively supporting our net interest margin and the overall profitability of our company. Our growth is reflective of our continued focus on customer service excellence on a daily basis, which helped us open over 16,000 net new deposit accounts in 2021 and approximately 12,000 accounts in 2020, compared to approximately 5,400 accounts on average for 2017 through 2019. After finishing covering the year-end, now let me briefly highlight for our first quarter 2022 numbers that were released to the public in our earnings release last Thursday afternoon. Net earnings were $56 million for the first quarter of 2022, down slightly from $56.9 million for the first quarter of 2021. We were extremely pleased with our quarterly earnings to begin the year. However, certain items as followed impacted our results. Net interest income increased $6.6 million, reflecting our overall balance sheet growth, offset by lower PPP origination fees of $4.9 million from the prior year. Our average interest earning assets grew to $12.5 billion, reflecting growth of $1.95 billion from a year ago. Our net interest margin decreased to 3.22%, driven by the continued lower rate environment impacting our investment and loan yields, partially offset by lower funding cost. Reflective of the current interest rate environment, our mortgage revenues declined to $6.3 million from $9.9 million a year ago, but were essentially flat with the fourth quarter of 2021. Our provision for credit losses was a provision of $4.8 million in 2021, compared to a negative provision of $2 million a year ago, representing a $6.8 million increase driven by our continued strong loan growth and outlook for the economy. Trust income increased to $9.8 million from $8.3 million due to significant growth in assets managed to $8.6 billion. Total non-interest expenses were $59.2 million compared to $57.7 million last year, reflecting an efficiency ratio of 44.16% compared to 45.36% last year. Again, noting that lower is better for this ratio. Our diluted earnings per share were 39 cents per share for the first quarter of 2020 compared to 40 cents per share in 2021. We ended the first quarter with assets totaling $13.3 billion, up $12.1 billion for March 31st, 2021, driven again by our strong growth in deposits. Similarly, our loans increased to $5.6 billion at March 31st, 2022, up from December 31st, 2021 by $214 million when you exclude the reduction in PPP and held for sale loans, continuing our strong momentum from 2021. Deposits increased to $11 billion at March 31st, 2022, up $433 million over the balances at December 31st, 2021. This now concludes my review of our 2021 and first quarter 2022 financial results. Now I will turn the meeting over to Kirk Thaxton to review the 2021 outstanding results for the First Financial Trust and Asset Management Company. Thank you for your support, both as shareholders and customers of First Financial.
Good morning. First Financial Trust enjoyed another successful year in 2021, producing outstanding growth in both assets under management and earnings. Total assets increased $482 million to finish the year with a book value of $5.88 billion, an increase of 8.9%. The market value of our assets under management surpassed the $8 billion milestone, finishing the year at $8.70 billion, an increase of $1.19 billion or 15.8%. The trust company experienced excellent earnings growth in 2021. Trust fee revenue increased $6.62 million or 22.4% from $29.53 million in 2020 to $36.15 million in 2021. Our earnings growth in 2021 was positively impacted by our oil and gas fee revenue, which increased $1.87 million or 67% from $2.78 million in 2020 to $4.64 million in 2021. The increase was due primarily to additional assets under management, increased production, and higher oil and gas prices. As you can see from the slide, our oil and gas revenue continues to vary from year to year based upon market conditions, and it remains an important line of business for us, representing approximately 13% of total revenue in 2021 compared to 9.4% in 2020. Our after-tax net income contribution to First Financial Bank shares increased $3.25 million or 22.4% from $14.47 million in 2020 to $17.72 million in 2021. Almost all of our offices experienced double-digit net income growth. Our Beaumont office led the way with net income growth of 81%, followed by our Stephenville office at 42.3% and our Fort Worth office at 23.4%. 2021 was another great year for the equity markets. Our best performing portfolio for the year was our equity income portfolio, which finished the year with a return of 27.19%. All of our portfolios have impressive long-term returns. Our core portfolio has a 10-year average return of 15.86%, while our equity income portfolio has a 10-year average return of 14.95%, which is 260 basis points per year higher than the Lipper Equity Income Benchmark. Our portfolio managers, led by Chris Montoya, currently manage approximately $4 billion in equity assets, utilizing 5 different equity styles, allowing us to provide the appropriate equity strategy to meet each customer's needs and risk tolerance. Bill Rowe continues to do an excellent job of managing our bond portfolios and currently manages approximately $2.6 billion in fixed income assets, in addition to the $6.5 billion managed for the holding company. 2021 was an extremely challenging year for fixed income. However, Bill was able to outperform both the taxable and tax-free benchmarks in 2021, as well as at the 3, 5, and 10-year levels. We continue to be excited about our newest markets in San Antonio and Bryan-College Station. We have excellent growth opportunities in both locations and are starting to see positive results. Additionally, our Houston office, which was started at the end of 2018, went over $100 million in assets and became profitable in 2021. Barbara Hill, who has been managing our Odessa office, retired at the end of 2021. Barbara started this office for us in 2009 and grew it to over $300 million in assets under management. We're most appreciative of Barbara's contributions and wish her the best in retirement. We also want to recognize Missy Fenton, who was selected as the 2021 recipient of the prestigious Colleen Barrett Award for Administrative Excellence. Missy was selected from over 500 finalists by Colleen Barrett herself. Missy is most deserving of this award, and we are proud of this special recognition. Missy, please stand and be recognized. We're pleased to announce that the first quarter of 2022 has produced outstanding results. The book value of our assets under management has increased over $340 million since year end, surpassing the $6 billion milestone to reach $6.22 billion, while the market value of our assets under management is currently at $8.63 billion. Against the backdrop of rising interest rates and market volatility, our net income for the first quarter of $5.14 million was an increase of $1.07 million or 26.6% when compared to the first quarter of 2021. These first quarter results have us excited about the opportunities that lie before us in 2022. The foundation of our business has always been based upon relationships. We're fortunate to have worked with many families for generations. Whether it's our experience in investments, mineral management, property management, employee benefit management, or trust and estate administration, our highly talented and experienced team remains dedicated to providing unparalleled customer service to you and your families for generations to come. Thanks to each and every customer of First Financial Trust for allowing us to serve your trust and investment needs. For those of you who are not yet our trust customers, we look forward to the opportunity to serve you. Thank you for your attention this morning, and I'll turn the podium over to Scott.
Thank you, James and Kirk. As you can see, the bank and the trust company are doing very well. And let me put some color to the last 2 years so you can kind of put this together and see where we are today. As you noticed, our annual report is titled Momentum, which is exactly what we gained over the last 2 years, because we decided not to lock our doors, but to come to work, manage through the pandemic, serve our customers, make our facilities the safest place for our employees and our customers to work and to visit. Little did we know that this decision, along with some prior preparation, would set us up to have the largest growth that this company has ever experienced. It's interesting when the pandemic started and many banks locked their doors and went home, because when their customers went to go to the bank and their doors were locked, they came to us. And the fact that we were open made such a difference. And you're going to see that in the growth of our company of $4 billion. Over the past 2 years, we achieved that organic growth. It was all organic. We didn't buy a bank. Of approximately $4 billion. That's like us going out and buying a bank for $4 billion, but we didn't pay for it. And we didn't have the cost of bringing that bank into the system. It was outstanding. You can't imagine how great that is. The most positive thing is our employees, the branches, our systems, and our capital have absorbed this large growth without any problems. It just happened. And we intended to build on the momentum that this has created for our company. We were well prepared to meet the challenges of operating through the pandemic because we'd already made excellent customer service a top priority with one of the pre-2020 initiatives of being trained by training our employees by Horst Schulze, co-founder of Ritz-Carlton Hotels, the renowned legend of customer service across the world. When you have Horst Schulze come and train your people personally, it's a big deal. And I will tell you, it changed our customer service throughout our whole company to the excellence that we have today. We updated our company website, and we were able to communicate with our customers at a moment's notice. As things changed on the PPP loans, we were able to tell our customers. They knew to go to our website, and they knew what to do. And so that made a huge difference. We were also able to put the Paycheck Protection Program application on our digital loan platform so customers could fill out the application on their phone or their computer, send it to us for processing that day. Made a huge difference. Our employees worked through each night to rapidly process the PPP loans. What we found out is when we started putting in those loans in the system, so the system was jammed up, and they'd come back to you, and you put them in, they'd come back. So our guys said, shoot, we'll start inputting when everybody else is closed. So they stayed up all night long, inputting loans that went through immediately, and the next day, all the loans were input, ready to go, while other banks were fighting the system. So it was people going beyond the call of duty to make that happen. We quickly received statewide recognition for this effort, which brought customers to us from other banks that couldn't process their loans. When the new customers came to us and asked us to process a PPP loan, we asked them for all their business. And in most cases, we got it. Over the last 2 years, we've originated $970 million in PPP loans and $142 million in Main Street Lending Program loans for the purpose of keeping our customers' doors open and allowing them to keep their employees paid. Throughout the 2 years, we remained Texas strong, and the new business we received created significant momentum that rolled right into this year. Reflecting that momentum has been the number of net new accounts we opened over those 2 years. Historically, we would open about 5,000 net new accounts. In 2020, we opened 12,000 net new accounts. That's that business from those other banks coming over to us. And then in 2022, we opened 16,000 net new accounts. In the first quarter of 2022, we opened 3,300 net new accounts. So we're already continuing to open more accounts. Regarding these accomplishments, I want to say that I couldn't be prouder of our team of professional bankers who rose to the occasion and made the last 2 years such a success. Over the last 5 years, we have increased earnings from $120 million to $228 million, an increase of $108 million. If somebody would have told me 5 years ago that this past year we'd make $228 million, I would have said, I don't know how, but it happened. Over the past 5 years, our average return has been 20.29% a year. Some of you in this room have experienced what's on the next slide, and this is pretty cool. Since we went public in 1973, and you'll remember we're 131 years old, so we've been around a long time, but Walter took the company public, Walter Johnson took the public company in 1973, not to raise capital. This company has never raised capital, never had to, outside the original capital that they raised to start the company. It's all been on earnings. And so in 1973, he took the company public to make the stock liquid. So our stockholders would know every day what their stock was worth and could sell it and it'd be liquid. We have increased earnings from that year. That year was $1 million. This last year was $228 million over 48 years. If you owned 100 shares in 1973, today you would have 34,378 shares because of stock splits. Those shares in 1973 would have been worth $4,900. At the end of 2021, those same shares would have been worth $1,747,676, a 13.02% average annual return excluding dividends through those years, while the average annual return of the S&P 500 would have been 7.81% through those years, almost twice what the S&P did. As we have always said, we can't control the stock price, but we can work hard to produce increased earnings, which ultimately drives stock price. As you know, with the war in Ukraine, inflation, the supply chain interruption, higher interest rates, the stock market has been down, which you can see right there. As you can tell, we compare well. We're in the red. We compare well with the other indices, although our closing stock price was at $41.33 yesterday. We continue to be the same outstanding bank we were a year ago when we were at 55. Nothing's changed in our company. And frankly, our credit is the best I've ever seen, and the economy is one of the best I've ever seen. The Texas economy is doing outstanding. What's changed? It's the national situation, and it's the market. It's how they look at our stock today and how they look at all the other stocks today. But it really doesn't bother me that we have stock fluctuation as long as we're fluctuating with the market. When our stock price is high, it allows investors to exit the stock with a good price, and when it is low, it gives investors the opportunity to buy our stock at a good price. For the past 13 years, we've been selected as one of the top 7 banks in the country from $5 billion to $50 billion by Bank Director magazine. 2 of those years we were selected number 1, and this year we have been selected number 2 for the 5th time. The rating is based on First Financial's financial strength and safety coming from factors such as capital, asset quality, profitability, risk management, and sound business practices. And now let's talk about our footprint. As you can see, the Bank and Trust at Bryan College Station, which we bought 2 years ago, fits very well into our footprint with our operations that span the area, from Hereford in the Panhandle to Orange in Southeast Texas. This reflects our philosophy of continuing to be a community bank that doesn't focus on the cities, but the smaller communities around the major metropolitan areas where we are not fighting the big boys, but we have the growth factor coming from the city. This philosophy has worked very well for us, and being spread across the state has created diversity in the types of customers and economies that make up our bank. This diversity has been very important to us because it's been very important for the consistency of the growth in our earnings, because if one area is down, normally another area is up. I will say, as we grow and continue to purchase other banks, I don't think there's much of a question that we will have to be in some of the major Texas cities. As you see from the map, many of the cities have grown around us, like Southlake and Dallas-Fort Worth and Kingwood and Houston. You know, we're just part of the city. Now I want to go through our new locations and what we're doing to expand. In our business, we're always updating and improving our locations to meet the needs of the fast-paced, technology-driven customers today. In February 2021, we held the groundbreaking ceremony for a new location in Huntsville to replace the 2 buildings we have across the street. This state-of-the-art 8,850 square foot building will house all of our Huntsville employees to better serve our customers with the latest in technology. Because of the nationwide supply chain delays, we're several months behind and hope to have this building completed by the end of the 3rd quarter. In April 2021, the company moved its technology training and customer care center into a 52,800 square foot newly remodeled operating center in South Abilene. The state-of-the-art building provides the latest in technology, security, safety, connectability, and audiovisual capabilities while being very energy efficient. We expect this new facility to meet the needs of our growing company for many years. We're now in the process of leasing the space that the 3 centers formerly occupied in our corporate headquarters at 400 Pine. We're very excited that the Abilene Chamber of Commerce has taken the vacated 5th floor space for their new home, and we are delighted to have them as part of as a neighbor. In June 2021, First Financial Bank's Bryan College Station region announced that it had acquired property at 2445 Harvey Mitchell Parkway South. In November 2021, we started construction on a 16,000 square foot highly energy efficient building at that site. This state-of-the-art facility will feature a large lobby, offices for lending, mortgage, trust officers, and 5 drive-through lanes, and a wider lane designed for large trucks. We feel that this is one of the best locations in Bryan College Station, which give our customers easier access to our customers and to our people and our services. We hope to move into this building 1st quarter of 2023. In February 2022, First Financial Bank Southeast Texas region announced that it had purchased property in Lumberton and started construction on a 3,300 square foot bank building with 3 motor bank lanes and an ATM lane. Lumberton has an excellent school district and is a fast-growing city 10 miles from Beaumont. We look forward to being part of Lumberton's growth. We anticipate that the completion date for this project will be the fourth quarter of this year. As you can see, we have made a good number of changes in management, which includes many of our younger professional bankers who are moving up the ladder. Some are to replace retirees or future retirees. Others are to strengthen the management team to fit the growth that we have had and will have, as well as meet the requirements expected passing a $10 billion bank. Once you get to the $10 billion range, you have a lot more regulatory and just, scrutiny that you've got to have additional people to move on. And so we are preparing for that. And if you're wondering why I'm spending the time on this, because I want you to see what the future of this bank is, because these people are the group that's going to take our bank, along with the people we have today, to the next level and on down the road. In January 2021, Nora Thompson was promoted president of First Financial Bank, Bryan-College Station region. And in July 2021, she gained the additional title of CEO following the retirement of Ivan Olson, who was president and CEO of the region for 12 years. Nora has more than 30 years' experience in financial services and mortgage lending. Prior to her acquisition of TB&T Bank shares, she was a key part of the leadership team, where she served as executive vice president and senior lender. She's a graduate of Southwestern Graduate School of Banking at SMU and is the fourth female to be promoted to president in our company. Robert Nichols, in February 2021, was appointed chairman of the board of the Kingwood region. Bob has served on the Kingwood region's board of directors since 2010 and on First Financial Bankshares board of directors since 2018. He is a graduate at Oklahoma State University and is founder and executive chairman for a Legacy Group, LLC, the second largest gas compressor packager in the world. In July 2021, Chris Cook was elected executive vice president of advertising and marketing at First Financial Bank. Chris spent 22 years at Texas Tech University, first as associate athletics director for communications for 11 years, and then as senior director in the Office of the Communications and Marketing of the Office of the President of the University. Now, this was a hard one, because the president of the university, Skuvanek, is a very good friend of mine. And when Chris walked in to tell him that he was coming to work for us, the only thing he said is, "You're going to have a worse boss than you do now." Chris holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism from Louisiana Tech University and a Master's of Arts degree from Mass Communication School at Texas Tech. Maggie Tusinski. In August 2021, the Board of Directors of First Financial Bank announced the election of Maggie as Executive Vice President, Chief Digital Officer, a newly created position in the company. She has extensive background in product development and user experience and is a liaison between each line of business to promote a consistent experience for our customers across all digital channels. She comes to First Financial Bank with 20 years of experience working in financial services, including 10 years with Fortune 500 company USAA, and most recently 4 years at Frost Bank. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Administration from the University of Texas at San Antonio and a Master's of Business Administration degree from the University of Phoenix. And let me tell you, she has made a huge impact on our digital. We have continued to advance our digital, which has certainly helped our customers. In October 2021, Chris Bowman was promoted President and CEO of First Financial Bank Conroe. He succeeded Sam Baker, who retired in March of 2022, but Sam will remain as chairman of the board. Chris has worked for the Conroe region for the past 12 years and is executive vice president and is the largest producer in loans in that area. He has been in the industry for 39 years and is a graduate of Stephen F. Austin State University and the University of Colorado Graduate School of Banking. In November, First Financial Bankshares, Inc. promoted David Bailey to Executive Vice President for Commercial Banking, a newly created position within the company. In a new role, David will lead the commercial banking line of business, working with each region to grow First Financial's commercial loan portfolio. He also will assist each region in business development, talent management, and will partner with Treasury Management to grow deposits and fee-based services. David has been with First Financial Bank for 19 years, starting his career as a teller while attending college in Abilene. David is one of the 7 people that started at the bank right out of college or in college, moved up our training program, became president of the bank, and continues to move up the ladder. We call it a training program that works. Following graduation, he joined the bank's credit analyst program, advanced through several jobs, became president of our Eastland Division, and was named senior lender in Abilene, and now his new position. He is the graduate of McMurray University and Southwestern Graduate School of Banking. In January 2022, the board of First Financial Bank Fort Worth region elected Vianney Lopez Braun as chair of the board. Vianney has been an advocate for First Financial Bank since we financed her law practice in 1998, and she has served as our employment attorney for 24 years. She leads the labor and employment section for Decker Jones PC, a full-service law firm based in Fort Worth. She serves as the Chief Development Officer for the firm. She has practiced employment law for 30 years with previous tenure in Houston and Abilene. She is an honors graduate of Princeton University and earned a law degree from the University of Texas School of Law. In January 2022, the Board of Directors of First Financial Bankshares announced the promotion of Luke Longhofer to Executive Vice President, Chief Lending Officer upon Gary Gragg's retirement after 30 years. As Chief Credit Officer, Luke had worked in tandem with Gary for 11 years. Luke has played an integral role in the credit oversight of the bank acquisitions, most recently that of Texas Bank, the Bank and Trust in Bryan College Station. He also oversaw the execution of the PPP and Main Street lending programs. He was one of the masterminds for getting so much new business to our bank. He was also instrumental in implementing the adoption of CECL accounting standard before joining the bank. He was at the FDIC for more than 7 years. He has had numerous promotions and held numerous positions through the company through those years, and he holds a bachelor's finance degree from West Texas A&M University and he's the valedictorian of his Southwestern Graduate School of Banking class. In addition, at its January 2022 meeting, the Board of Directors of First Financial Bankshares announced the promotion of Kyle McVeigh to Executive Vice President, Accounting Officer. He joined First Financial Bankshares in 2011, following 2 years with KPMG. Kyle holds a bachelor's degree in accounting and finance and a master's in accounting from Abilene Christian University. He is a licensed CPA and a graduate of SMU's Graduate School of Banking, where he was also valedictorian of his class. And that's one of the things about Swigsby is they call it the Abilene Connection, because we've had more valedictorians at Swigsby than any other bank. Tells you the quality of people we hire. In February 2022, the Board of First Financial Bank's South Lake region elected Shelby Brune as president and CEO of the region, succeeding Mark Jones, who will continue to be chairman of the board. Shelby recently served as Executive Vice President, Chief Lending Officer for Valence Bank in Fort Worth. Shelby is a graduate of the University of Texas in Dallas with a bachelor's degree in accounting and information management. He also is a 2017 graduate at the University of Colorado School of Banking. And then in March 2022, First Financial Bankshares, Inc. elected Rhett Everett, Executive Vice President, Credit Administration. Rhett will be a valued member of the Credit Administration team with the daily responsibilities of leading oversight in the Dallas-Fort Worth regions. His experience as Chief Credit Officer at the National Bank of Texas in Fort Worth, as well as a 14-year tenure with Capital One in Fort Worth and Dallas. Which gives him ample experience for the job. He received a bachelor's degree in business administration and finance from Tarleton State University and a master's degree from Texas Tech University. Then in April 2022, the board of First Financial Bank Hereford region elected Jamie Ash as chairman and CEO of First Financial Bank Hereford. Jamie is a native of the area, has a 25-year history of working for banking and banks across the country as far as Bank of America and Happy State Bank. He received a degree in business administration from West Texas A&M University. Please help me thank Ivan Olson, Sam Baker, Gary Gregg for their long and valued service to our company. We congratulate them on their well-deserved retirements and wish them all best with their new endeavors. First Financial Bankshares embraces and promotes a culture of diversity and inclusion. We continue our efforts to attract, recruit, and retain employees who bring to our company diverse backgrounds, orientation, beliefs, culture, and interest. We believe that having a diverse team strengthens our company by bringing together people with different ideas, skills, experiences, and by enabling all of our customers, regardless of their race or other characteristics, to feel at home when they visit our locations. We also continue to refresh and diversify our regional and subsidiary boards, which have 35 women and our minorities as members. As I remind you, these boards are made up of the movers and shakers of each of the communities we serve. As you can see, 72% of our workforce are women and 37% are minorities. We are very proud of the women who have leadership roles in our company. We recently highlighted the importance of female leadership in our company. There they are, with an advertisement of the 2 women directors and our 4 women presidents. Since then, we have featured them in videos telling their story. Not only are they first-class professionals who lead and guide our company to new heights every day, they are active leaders within their communities while also pursuing personal interest and keeping their families a top priority. These female leaders represent many women that we have across the company, and we plan to highlight more women leaders in the coming months. At the January 2022 Board of Directors meeting, Eli Jones, PhD, was selected as company's Board of Directors. Eli also was appointed to the First Financial Bank Board of Directors, and he currently serves on the board of First Financial Bank's Bryan-College Station region. Eli is nationally known academic speaker and author and has worked with major publicly traded companies. He is professor of marketing and the Lowry and Peggy Mays Eminent Scholar at Texas A&M University. He recently served for 6 years as Dean of the Texas A&M's prestigious Mays School of Business, one of the nation's top 20 business programs, preceded by 3 years as Dean of the Sam Walton College of Business at the University of Arkansas. He was recently selected as an outstanding alumnus of Texas A&M University. He is a Bryan-College Station native, holds a bachelor's degree in journalism, and both a master's and doctorate degree in business administration from Texas A&M. We're delighted to have a new board member of Eli's caliber, experience, and education on our board. Our lead director, Tucker Bridwell, has decided to retire from the board at this year's annual meeting after 14 years of service. As lead director and one of the senior members, Tucker has been instrumental in guiding the company and board to excellence. He recently served on the executive committee and the nominating governance committee. He is in the past, he has served on audit, compensation, and the bank directors' loan committees. He has served on the board of directors of the First Financial Bank of Abilene for 35 years. Tucker is president of Mansfield Investment Corporation, as well as the Diane Graves Owen Foundation. He is a graduate of SMU's Cox School of Business and serves on SMU's Board of Trustees and is a distinguished alumnus from SMU. We are certainly sad to see Tucker retire, but we appreciate the years of leadership and direction that he's given through the years. It has been my immense pleasure to work with him as lead director through years. Tucker, let's give you a round of applause. As you can see from this slide, over the past 5 years, our annual dividends have increased from 38 cents to 58 cents, a 52.6% increase. Due to our outstanding capital position and historical earnings increases, the board has voted to increase our cash dividend by 2 cents, or 17 cents per quarter, which is a 13.3% increase. This will be paid to shareholders of record as of June 16th, 2022, with the dividend payable on July 1st, 2022. We hope you're pleased with this decision. Yeah, I got an email before the meeting and it said, I think you need to increase the dividend 2 cents this year. So whoever sent that, of course I made no comment, but you got it. Having achieved the largest growth in the company's history over the last 2 years, and with it, vigorous momentum, our goal now is to maintain that trajectory and velocity of that momentum. And as we reviewed earlier, I could not be more pleased with the people who have taken on new positions across our company and accepted more responsibilities to support our growth now and in the future. Our Horst Schulze training, our mission and vision statements, our 21 non-negotiables have kept our entire team focused on excellence. We will maintain that focus and continue to adhere to our bedrock goals to provide outstanding and personalized customer service, deliver unparalleled value to our shareholders, enrich the lives of our employees, and create a positive impact on the communities we serve. With the momentum we have, the outlook for First Financial Bankshares is very good. We continue to improve our bottom line by growing loans, deposits, and trust accounts, enhancing non-interest income, and controlling expenses. We're searching diligently to acquire at the right price well-managed banks that fit our culture and bring long-term shareholder value to the company. Our accomplishments and strong performance, especially over the last 2 years, did not just happen on their own, but rather came from the dedication and hard work of a very professional team made up of the board members, officers, employees, of whom I have the honor of working. They continue to go well beyond the call of duty in providing our customers and communities with exceptional service. And I thank each one of them. Thank you also to our shareholders who are so loyal and supportive to our company. Many of you have owned stock for generations, and some of you are recent stockholders. No matter which, never forget that we work to put you first. The 2022 annual meeting of First Financial Bankshares, Inc. is now adjourned, and we invite each of you to join us for the famous Perini Luncheon in the exhibit hall. So when you come out, turn right. We have plenty of buffet tables to serve you quickly. Find a place to sit down. We've got plenty of tables and chairs. And if you don't feel comfortable on going through the buffet line and carrying a plate, just go sit down. Our servers will go get you a plate, and they'll take care of you. And they're there to serve you. Thank you for coming to today, and we look forward to seeing you at the luncheon. We are adjourned.